Oh
Boom.
shit.
There you have it.
Oh shit. Here
All
we go.
right.
Bruce Lee style.
All right,
Word.
I'll see y'all later.
See you. Deuces.
Marvelous
Word.
time.
Yeah, man. So now, like the first thing, like, you know, it was just to talk about some of this new shit, new technology shit that's going on. You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
So I was like, I definitely wanted to get y'all feedback on it because I thought it was I mean, I tried it out and it was kind of ill and it made me catch a lot of different feelings. Cause I remember back when we used to have to struggle to render something, you know, we had to put in that work and now you can just type it in and next you know, bing bang boom. There it is, you know.
You know what it
Automatic render.
makes me think
Yeah.
of? You know, all these technological changes are just, you know,
There he go promoting.
they
I love it. I love it. I was gonna say, why you ain't got your shit on, bro?
oh, here we go.
Yeah, nice.
All right, there he is.
Nice and choochie.
I gotta keep my head covered
You know,
because that's where you can see my age. There's nothing left up here.
Oh man.
so good.
Um, all these technological changes, I don't know, man. It's kind of, I would imagine that we all feel about it the way that people felt about Adobe Illustrator 30 years ago, you know, where you're opening up to a larger group of people this ability to make art that, you know, was required a protected set of skills. And like, I don't know, the way I look at the AI stuff now, like, yeah, lots of different feelings when you're confronted with working on it and trying to think about it, but it becomes, at least at the stage that it is at today, you still have to do work to make the stuff look good. I think it just becomes another tool in, you know, in the toolbox.
Right.
You know, it's not. That's all. I think it just becomes another tool in the toolbox, and you know, I want to be mad at the democratization of art in some ways.
You
Of
want to
art
be mad?
creation.
Not even a little bit?
What's that?
Not even a little bit?
I mean, I want to be mad at it, but the trend towards allowing more people to be able to express themselves, like that's a I think that's a good thing for humans, maybe. At least conceptually it is. So I don't want to be mad at that. And you know, at this point, like for myself, and I would think the same applies to you guys, is that what we have on our side, besides having the base skills to produce graphics, artwork, whatever, there's a wisdom on that accompanies that about, you know, about process and commute and how you communicate and what images communicate and how to get things made, and like there's a whole world of other information that's around it. And because I guess ultimately what I consider, at least the people in our camp or our part of the world, is like we're more than just like image makers. Like there's a lot of other skills and experience that comes out of an image that that you create, that Dontay creates, that I create. That's not just like a bunch of prompts in a computer. So like I can
I think that's what's
imagine, part of me imagines worlds where it would be, where it could be get scary for, you know, us as creators who spend our lives honing a certain skill set.
right. Yeah,
But I
believe
think it's
that
more
too.
than that, man. I just do. I just think that the perspective is different. There's a lot more on offer than just image making.
Right. Yeah, there's definite layers, there's definitely layers to what we tend to put out, and to, to some of the people in our peer group as well, that came up in similar fashion. But like I said, it definitely gave me mixed feelings.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, it was super easy to just type in whatever it was, but then that creative ego part of me, that artistic side, was like, that's not exactly how I would want it, like, and of course I think that's part of that, that skill set that you say, like, we took time to kind of craft the imagery that we wanted originally, and then we had to go through the process of translating it to digital, and then figure out how to give it all that aesthetic all at the end. So like, I definitely, I love it, but I also, I don't feel like I need to allow it to take over. Personally speaking, I know y'all gonna.
What do you mean allow it to take over your creative process?
Yeah, because like there was a period of time when I remember, I would meet a lot of younger graphic artists and designers, and one of the things that I would always ask would be, can y'all draw? Like, what is your artistic talent? What do you have? And some of them would tell me nothing. And I would be like, so I don't understand. What made you just want to do it? Because to me, it's so, what we tend to do is always an extension of our creative side. And visually, we had to learn how to create something two-dimensional first, whether it was on paper, originally it was always on paper first, and then we translated it using the computer. Like you said, it's another tool in our toolbox. So it makes me curious to see how younger generations are going to utilize it, especially those that don't have that type of a talent,
Right.
so that's the part that I mean by letting it take over. I'm not talking about no Terminator, Skynet shit. You know what I mean?
Have you used any of that stuff? Have you used like Midjourney or whatever?
I use the AI stuff on Adobe, but the images that I like, they tell you like type in certain things what you want to come in, and then you come in. But all of it, all the stuff that I typed in, the shit looked mid, and I was just like, nah.
Yeah, not good.
It wasn't on the artwork that they selected for that AI shit was not up to par, or up to our standards at least. You know what I mean? It looked bad, and I was just like, nah, I wouldn't even use all that shit, because they'll have you like change certain aspects of whatever the artwork is, and it was not. I was like, nah, I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah, the Adobe version, from what I can
Yeah,
tell, I just don't know how to use it. It looks trash. Like there's
I
nothing
think they're
scary
gonna be
about
sending
that
out.
at all.
They're gonna send out a
There's
bunch of
nothing
updates.
scary about it. I was like, this is
This
nothing.
shit is
But have you
boo-boo.
tried the
Yeah.
Photoshop one too?
The Photoshop one was
Photoshop
a
too,
little
yeah.
better. A little
Huh?
better. It was a little better, the Photoshop one.
Yeah, that shit saved so much time. I was like, just like, cleaning up backgrounds and just certain things, removing certain things. I was just like, geez,
Oh, that stuff is nice, yeah. Like
Oh, that
remove
stuff is great.
backgrounds.
it's brilliant.
But I always found myself still having to go back in and clean stuff
Touch it
up.
up.
I I guess. Oh, hold on, guys. I got my wife is on the line.
Oh, the boss.
Sorry.
But yeah, bro. So no, that was definitely something that messed with me. Like, it not messed with me in that sense, but I was just curious, because being how often we tend to use these apps and like I can remember a time when I had to learn how to do layouts on paper, the old school desktop publishing way, and using Xerox machines for graphics, and
Yeah, my
so
bad. I'm bad.
okay. So
My
I was just saying, like, there was a time when we can remember that time when we had to use
Yeah,
Xerox
We had to.
machines.
mechanicals.
Yeah.
But you know what I think about that, and what I think about all that handwork stuff, like prior to, I'm gonna say 19, well, it's even, I mean, they started doing a lot of digital graphics processing probably in the 70s even, but I still remember like encountering architects and graphic designers where you had to, they're laying stuff out on, what was it, like on graph paper and doing paste ups and like having all the
we had to
vellum.
learn that
I
shit.
I don't even know how that works.
Press type.
That was hands-on shit. We
all
had to
that.
learn that
That
shit
was
ourselves.
Yeah.
no joke. That was no joke.
Yeah.
Then we
and
discovered
like,
the bitmap and shit, right? And then we went crazy with that. When we
with
discovered the bitmap
bitmap
and shit, I was like,
you
oh,
remember
shit.
I think you taught me that.
Yeah.
You remember
I
that?
discovered that shit and I was like, oh shit. And I just stumbled upon
I
that shit.
remember
Like,
I was oh no, was it the bitmap? I don't know if it was
it
a
was
bitmap
bitmap
or
layering.
I think it was masking.
Masking and
You remember teaching me about masking?
Yeah.
I remember like George was looking at what I was doing and he's like, and I was like trying to move stuff around. And he's like, yo, why don't you just mask that? And I was like, what's a mask?
Yeah.
What's a mask? And I remember, I want to say that I was at Don Juan's computer, but I might have been, you're in my memory of it too, where you guys kind of looked at each other and were like, this nigga don't know how to mask? I thought he's supposed to be nice.
Probably George. George would do that all the time. But yeah, but that whole thing that they have all those, you don't even got to do all those wild not masking, but like these bit mappings and all these like all these layerings we used to do to add these effects. You don't even got to make none of that shit no more, bro.
No.
Yeah.
It's like so many guys that's doing these shit. I'll be buying all them shits. Like, yo, let me $20. You get 15 layers and shit. You know what I mean? You just all these filters and you just throw them shits on top. It's like crazy.
It was a process for us to distress type. I remember, and I remember seeing the first time, I believe it was Sung. First time I seen him distress type, like he made the Xerox, and then I'm like, yo, what is he doing next? And then he took it and he crumpled it up and opened it up.
Yeah.
Opened it up. Was rubbing it on shit, like all kinds of just sit, and then he scanned it again, crumpled it up. It was like a step, and then he threw it on the ground, step on it. It was like all this weird stuff he did, and I was like, oh shit! Like it just blew my mind. Scanned it in, and then like there you have it. Distressed
layering process. Yep.
Yeah,
just making it.
Process. I remember that too. I mean, we used to do that crazy at, I guess. Maybe we started doing that, or I started doing that with D, maybe at Fat Farm.
Yeah, when we did that Fat Farm catalog,
yeah,
we did a lot of
we were doing a bunch of that. I ended up making like a crazy library of different distress styles, and that was all. But it made it so everybody had their own sort of, different designers.
You had to build a library,
right?
And quirks.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think AI may flatten that, but I mean, this even leads to the bigger question, but part of it is that the systems are just like hoovering up all the artwork that exists on the internet and using that as references to create their models. And so in essence, every time, everywhere there is, we create some work and put it online, it potentially becomes part of this database or becomes part of the skill set of what these I guess AI models reference to build art.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a day where like, yo, make a shirt that looks like Saviour Sanquiche designed it in 2005.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be
like
able to
that
make
sounds
it.
ridiculous, but at least in the direction that it appears to be going now, like that is something that could happen.
Yeah.
But I see some shit come back recently. It was called the 2K graphics, and I was just like, "What the fuck, 2K graphics?" Like, so it's like shit we was doing in the 2K, like
oh yeah,
all that type of skating with the bubble-ish letters with the stars and like the ovals.
yeah.
I was looking at that shit. I ain't doing none of that shit, bro.
You were heavy on
that's my thing about all of it right now. I'm just like, I'm not going back and doing that again.
Everybody's going back to the 2001. I was like, I got all them shits on my computer still. I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking like get out of here.
Yeah.
They trying to make that shit. I got a whole catalog of that shit.
Yo, have you messed with like that chat GPT stuff like that with that AI as well?
The chat GPT shit I've been fucking with heavy.
Oh yeah?
Like, yeah, because I'm trying, I'm trying to relaunch my shit. So I just was in there just asking them all the questions on what's needed to be done. And then I'll be like, oh, I need engagement, crowd engagement. And then I'll type that shit in, and then they give me fucking 15 paragraphs. Yeah, on how to do that shit. Like, do this, do that, do this, do that. I was like, holy shit. I was sitting on the toilet, bro. I was on the toilet for like 45 minutes. My wife was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, yo, I'm on chat GPT, but you said on the toilet? My motherfucking legs was numb, everything. Right? I was just like, damn.
That's me all the time. Christine's like,
I get
that's disgusting. Why do you have your computer in there?
I get my best
on the phone
on the toilet, bro.
My other
That's
office,
where all the good research
comes from. No doors in the house.
And I'm in the dark, you heard? I turn the lights off.
Oh, I'm not messing with you, bro. Oh, you alone in that one, yeah.
I'm on another planet, B. I was like, oh shit. Wifey was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I was like, I'm doing research with the light off.
Yo, that's nuts.
With the light.
Like that shit's a trip because like the when I was on that zine book that like now it's gonna be a book, but that when I was working on when I was asking it to correct errors, and just going through that process, it spit out, thank you for this bit of information. It gives me more insight on what the 90s was like in New York City.
Oh that right you got to be careful too, though. Listen,
yes. That I'm like, that's
you giving it, you feeding it information.
Oh man, I was like,
hold on.
I left the arm in the future, bro, in the past or whatever it was. I done messed
fed him what's going on in the 90s, bro.
Damn.
So now anybody that goes in and says, give me information about the 90s, it's gonna give them that information.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, that the thing that I think is gonna happen, and I hope it happens, is that there needs to be some sort of system to compensate the creators of the artworks that are referenced. There need to be protections in there. For creatives.
That's true.
And I mean, imagine imagine a version of Midjourney or whatever, where you just feed in all the artwork that for yourself that you have access to, and you feed in all the artwork you've done over the course of your life, and then you just push the button and it just creates new versions of it.
Yeah, I'd be real
That would be
But
crazy.
that is a possibility, man.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't know. Part of me is like, okay, does that become cheating?
It's a
But
form of
if
cheating,
it's based
but
on,
it's a
again,
form of elevation too.
but if it's based on your skill set and it's based on your historic tastes, I think it can be I think that would be a great tool. I'd love to do that. I just don't want to do that so that everybody else has access to that.
You want it for yourself. Yeah,
That's what it is. And I think, like, all right, if I were to put myself in that position, right, to do that, I understand that doing that, I'd be able to use it for specific things. You know, it would never take the place of, you know, an actual canvas or an actual hand painted piece. Like it'll never ever, you know the feeling like when you go to the MoMA and you go see, you know, a Rothko piece, like
Printers
you
are
know
getting
that.
nice. You might be like, oh, it can paint it for me.
Are you talking about them
They
Amazon
said
robots that's walking around now, right?
Amazon just ordered 700,000 robots.
I know that's something else.
Wait, what?
They just order a whole gang of robots. Amazon got robots now.
For the
To do all the
warehouse.
shipping?
Yeah,
700,000.
like walking around and shit. Like,
No.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How you order 700,000 robots?
Mm.
That's for
I mean,
shipping
you
and
look
packing
at,
and all that.
listen, you look at, I don't know if you guys pay attention to war in Ukraine, but that shit,
Yeah, I
warfare
do.
has changed too. That shit is all drones. The next thing that they'll
Yeah.
plug those drones into will be AI stuff.
Yeah.
And then
If it's not already.
World.
If it's not already. That I'm sure part of it already is, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
What was
One
that
of the things that
movie
I
back?
see.
War Games movie?
Sorry,
War
I'm
Games.
hungry.
That old movie, War Games.
I'm trying not to make too much noise, though.
You gonna see
Do
Sasso.
your thing. Do your thing, brother.
One of the things I see, being out here is a lot of what the is this frozen?
I can't right now. Really, bro? Mid-break? Like you're in the middle of a sentence. You were in the middle of a train of thought and it got derailed. Derailed, bro.
Said, is this frozen?
A lot of the parents at the school that my son goes to work in AI.
Oh yeah.
Lots
You
of
in the AI
interesting
town.
conversations. And I had a couple of people say to me, it's like, yeah, I have friends that are working on stuff for the government. That's just crazy. And they won't say anything more about it. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They got a lot of, like, the government is huge on that shit. Like they got a lot of weapons that are AI bound, bro. That's why I saw this post the other day, this like one of these military dudes, and he was like, yo, anybody tries to attack the US or try to even think about, your kids will be raising whatever. He said some wild shit. I was just like, he said your kids will be burying you.
will be what?
Will be burying you.
What?
Your generation. So it's like they'll wipe out the whole generation. I was like, these niggas is talking crazy. He said your kids will be burying you.
Well, like
They're saying there ain't nobody gonna be able to bury you because they gonna be too young to bury. It's basically saying that when he's talking about like Russia, the all the Arabic countries, if they even feel like they trying to act crazy, We cooking you.
Well, there's so much that goes on behind the curtain. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole nother ball game. But technology wise, like I wanna I want to I want to bring it back, right? Do you
Let's go.
remember Ghost in the Shell, the
Of
anime,
course.
right?
That's my shit.
Now they had that thermal optic camo, right?
Yeah,
That
the
should be the blended
camouflage.
background. Now
Yeah.
there was a period of time I remember in the it was definitely somewhere in the maybe in the 2000s. The I can't even like like before 2010, right? They were showing the earlier stages of a piece of fabric that a person would hold up and
Yeah.
they would just blend in. I the other day I just saw it and the dude, it's like the new and improved shit. And basically it is literally just it looks like our t-shirt, like a
It's
piece
like a blanket.
and it's
Yeah, I
way
saw it.
better. Like it is just
Yeah.
on like and I feel like everything that we've been doing, like and the reason why I bring that up is because like Ghost in the Shell used to always have these different AI tanks, right? These small robots that they would have around with them and stuff. And I feel like that's kind of everything that we've been discussing. That's also another thing where it's just like, dudes, what they would create, which started out as drawings, is manga and comic books and all that other stuff. And that imagination, fast forward, turns into
That's just reality right now.
yeah, science meeting up with that, you know. And like, yeah, there's gonna be great shit happening, but for us, it's also gonna be scary because I mean, we imagine all that other shit, and we also lived through that whole 80s nuclear, apocalypse. Yeah,
Cold
like
War shit, all that.
you
Yeah.
know, so
War
Now we live through the fuck. Now we in the AI era, right? That's
yeah,
gonna be coming crazy.
it's just a different ball game now. Like my kids, you know, they're so friggin' computer savvy. It's not even funny, like
Yeah, they
and
don't
they
know
can,
anything about the past, right?
oh
Well,
my
then you're gonna
goodness,
teach them, but the kids today don't know anything about anything in past the '90s.
yeah. They laughed when I showed them what an old cell phone, one of my first cell phones looked like, or
Yeah,
my daughter asked me about a rotary phone. Like, what is that?
11 o'clock.
What does that do? What does that little dial thing do? And I was like, oh, you got to do that for the numbers and all that. And that just went on a whole different, you know, cracking jokes about how old daddy is and shit like that. So,
I
uh,
saw this one thing when people was talking. They was like, "Oh, you was born in, you was living in the '60s. Was you a slave?" I was like, "Yo,
What?
who the fuck kid told
oh
them
my
that?"
God.
Some guy said that. He said, "My kid told me I was a slave in the '60s," and I was just like, "Dad, like the information is so confusing. It's like that's only like 50 years ago, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
'60s. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't no slavery back then. There was a lot of protest and shit, but there wasn't. So I think they got that the information is construed because they don't understand what was going on in the '60s. But the slavery shit was in the 1800s. It
Right.
wasn't in the '60s. You know what I mean?
They,
Niggas was
they,
still breakdancing in the '60s. Yeah.
It's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah, it's
right.
funny,
Right.
but it's not funny. Yes.
Right.
But even in the scale of time, you know, when you're young, 20, 30 years seems like a lot of time. When you're our
Yeah.
age, like, oh shit, I've been
I
alive
was
for a
just
lot of time. You take
yeah.
in the scales of our own lives, and like, I guess this is we've diverged off track, but I think about the fact that like, you know, our grandmothers probably knew people that were enslaved.
Slaves. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's fucking wild.
My
And
great grandfather was a slave. So yeah, definitely.
well, that's really wild, you
Yeah.
know. It's not that far. It's far in the past, but it's also not that far in the past.
Right.
You
No.
think about the scale of progress that happens over time, like how slowly it goes, it's not that far behind them.
No.
You know someone who knew someone. You're one degree of separation from
that
120 years
process.
ago,
Yeah,
150 years ago, maybe
Right.
2 degrees, but that's nothing.
yeah.
But that's part of like how what I try to with my kids at least. Anyway, like with the generations now, they have so much information at their fingertips, right?
Right.
So they don't necessarily have to go through the process that we did when we needed to research something or learn something. Even when it came to listening, to those older than us, when they would share their stories or the stories that were passed on to them, you know, uh, there was definitely it humbled you, right? When we did that, because you had to really just basically shut the fuck up and just listen to what somebody was saying, in order to learn about that history. And then, of course, you fact check it in your way and find out more information and get a better view of what was going on. But now, my kids don't even want to look anything up. They care less.
They don't have to.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, part of the thing that I think is when you said they all have information at their fingertips, they have all this new access.
Mhm.
It makes me wonder if it devalues information in a way, that kind of access. Because it's easy to be like, I don't need to learn now, Google it later. I don't need that now. Chat GPT, tell me about that shit later.
That's the process for a lot of them, because they could just do that. It's like a press of the button, and then they could just get all that information. So the experience is not really wanted. It's just, okay, well, if they hear someone talking about it, then they'll just Google it, and then the information will come up, and then they have they have the knowledge.
Right.
Well, it also makes me, but then if you extend them even further, does the idea of mastery, spending your 10,000 hours to perfect a craft, does that exist in the future? Is that an idea that becomes obsolete too?
I'm starting to think that it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that because the reason why because recently I'd say in the past 2 months, I saw two or three brands get started, and acceleration at a certain point that I was just like, I'm confused.
Really? What were the brands?
Because it was one brand called Hellstar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
That just
that's new. How new is that? Yeah. I don't know anything about it.
It started in the summer, like in June, and then they took off. And then there's another brand that Wallow just started. That be with Gilly. I don't know if y'all know who Wallow is.
Yeah.
But Gilly and Wallow.
Oh, the
podcast,
podcasters.
Worth. Yeah. He just started a brand called Hotels and Airplanes, or Airplanes and Hotels, based off of stuff that he's always traveling. He's always in hotels. So he started a brand, and then it took off. But I think it's based on so much information that he gives to the universe that it probably reciprocated or whatever. But that, and then there's another brand. I can't remember we could say Represent. That's not a new brand, but it's an old brand. But after the pandemic, it just exploded. You know what I mean?
Represent. I don't know that one.
Yeah, European brand. They're out of London.
And
they
there's
started
also
out.
There's that. There's there's also that. Was the dude Cortez?
Yeah, that too.
It's in the UK.
That shit took off crazy too.
Yeah,
but that's the thing, is it's like the a lot of those brands is hype and internet bound. You know what I'm saying? So it's like almost like a formal type of approach. It's just like people are gathering because they don't want to be left out. They want to be a part of the story, or they want to be a part of the experience. And the story is whatever it is that they say it is, and the people's like, oh, I want to be a part of that.
The story is the algorithm told me to do it.
Right.
Algorithm said I should swallow the whole thing. So that's what I'm doing.
All right.
And they're gonna swallow the whole thing. They're gonna go one after it. But it's the same shit too with the denim tear shit, bro. It's the same shit. The Emery guy.
I think Tremaine's something different. Tremaine been around.
Yeah, but the lot of now he's getting the clout chasing shit. Like, oh, ever since what I wouldn't have done and what he's did, the shit that he did with Supreme, right? Talked about the C-suite shit, and then shit with there's only white people in the C-suite and all stuff. But then he comes out the church with a white woman. So people are like, yo, if you talking all this free the people shit, and you designing a whole brand based off of motherfucking oppressed people, why are you coming out of the church with a Caucasian woman, brother? Why? So
man, I'll have nothing to say.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't got nothing to say either. I'm just saying what the people are saying, right? But you also like the story, and it's like it's almost like being a artist, right? Say if you a sex symbol artist, you can't have a girlfriend because all the women are loving you because you a sex symbol. As soon as you show your girl, motherfuckers are gonna start turning against you. They're gonna have questions.
right.
And that's the thing with you can't come up against Supreme talking about colorism, but then you come out to church with the Wonder Bread system. You know what I'm saying?
But that's an age-old story.
It is an age-old story.
It's an age-old story.
The young kids is putting that in the air, in the atmosphere.
But I'd rather go back to the other brands because I don't know anything about Hellstar. I saw a picture of one shirt and I was like,
see how Scott skated on
Yeah. Change subject.
Hellstar.
Right, left.
Yeah.
Hellstar.
Young kids.
Yeah, I know. I've heard people talk about it, and I'm not even really on the internet like that anymore. I opted to
try. Hold up, did I put myself out there like as a hater in there?
Huh?
You're not hating. Okay, I don't want to be.
You're not hating. I mean,
identify as the brother from the other side.
No, you just.
You know what I mean? I'm just putting it in the atmosphere of what I've been reading and seeing.
Right.
Back to Hellstar. Back to Hellstar. We can skate off of that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me. I'm not gonna. Don't get me.
Nah, we ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna touch it. We gonna
touch it.
We skateboard peeing on that joint.
We have to present.
Oh, jeez.
A solid front if we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that.
Here's my man. I feel like it's time to do something.
He's cool with you.
He was really good friends with another good friend of mine, and I think when I went out to London and maybe like 2015, 2017, he took us out. He was out one night a little bit. Yeah, he came by the office a few times, and I remember him being around Union in that era when Wilkins was there.
Oh, okay.
And so anybody that's connected to that world, to me,
I'm cool with it.
That's family. I gotta
Gotta
try
hold
to
them up.
support them, even if I'm not always happy with everything they're doing. But
right.
Love it. So yeah, on to the next.
Well, yeah.
So wait, what you were? I mean, I don't know anything about Hellstar, but my assumption at this point, whenever I see something gets hot and new, that's through social media, I'm like, yo, it's the algorithm.
Yeah.
People behind there are doing the things to activate the audience, but the span of things that you could do to activate the audience is, it's
minute.
that the algorithm has opened up for you.
I think they did a lot of seeding though, so
yeah,
that kind of helped them too.
oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Who was doing it? Who are the people behind it?
It's like 3 young kids out of LA.
Oh, yeah.
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 They got an interview on YouTube and shit.
Yeah. I don't know. The one thing that I saw, I was just like, it looked like the art was good. But it wasn't for me, so I didn't keep on moving. I was just kind of like, oh, artwork looks quality. Not for me. Keep it going.
Right.
You're definitely when it comes to your taste in artwork, you're a snob.
I think we're all snobs.
We are.
Yeah.
Hey, passing the buck.
Yeah.
Passing the buck.
Yeah, I am. I definitely
I'm passing the buck. Come on. I don't know. Maybe I am a snob. I don't know.
I just know, like, each of us have a very particular eye for when we begin to, like, cross-examine someone's artwork, and when we see things, we're very particular about it, and we'd be like, or we might just be like, because our
criticize with love.
We take it elsewhere. We already know, like, how we can elevate it, or if, because when it's spot on, we're like, yo, that shit is dope. Like I said,
yes.
We automatically know there's no more, like, whoever did it, it's wonderful, but there's times when we look at things and we're like, man, it just needs a little more love,
You're missing some elements.
Just to help just push it further, and that, I think, like, one of the things that we have was, the opportunity. When we were younger, we were around each other when we were younger. Then we have the opportunity to work together at times, and we had that respect for one another, that we would pass our artwork back and forth, and we were
still sharp and still.
Yeah. And we knew it automatically. Just, I knew if I gave it to Scott, I know if I gave it to Tay, I'm gonna come back with something different I couldn't do. And then it's like, oh, let me, bring it up another notch, and then keep moving it like that. So I feel, I don't know if there is that type of energy within brands anymore, because for so long it's always like driven by one person, and one person does this specifically, and it's not something where they're allowing one another to work together and develop things simultaneously.
I think that stuff still happens, because a lot of people, there's certain cases where there is the face of brands today, or face of these creatives, is kind of this monolithic, like, single creative genius sort of idea is how the picture is presented. But I think a lot of times behind the scenes, there's just huge amounts of collaborational work going on in a lot of cases where, I think at least for the more youth leaning streetwear-y thing, there's the I would assume, even looking at Hellstar, like the one shirt that I looked at, I'm like, all right, this looks like it has meaning to it looked to me like it was LA. So it's interesting that Dontay just said that they're from LA. So I could still see that, at least in the one thing that I looked at. And that's evidence of the fact that I can see that as evidence of some you know, there's still a regional creative conversation that's happening there. And so, I mean, I just see that as evidence of some sort of, maybe it's not collaboration, maybe it's the collaboration or it's a conversation with the community or the surroundings. But I think a lot of times with the small brands, it's still about that community conversation. You know, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to tell because I think that there are other instances. Well, I think that there are other instances where it is a single creative force that is just out there putting themselves out. But that's the story that's sold, is that there's like this amazing person who has all these amazing ideas, and the reality is that
it's propaganda.
Yeah, the reality is fucking 15 people behind the scenes designing everything.
Of course.
I mean, I think of well, yeah, I won't actually talk about that, but I think of all the things that I hear from people about, oh yeah, I did this thing, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why that was good. Like, you know, I'll find out about it 10 years later.
All right.
It's just interesting. That's always interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like there was a period of time when we would automatically, when we knew somebody was associated with it, we knew it was elevated to a degree, right? And we could tell, like, you know, we can expect good things. Even the things that may not have been like, you know, the best, we knew that it was better than a lot of the rest that was coming out.
Right.
You know? So that's interesting. And I find it funny that you say, like, you know, it has an LA style. Like, I remember,
mind you, I've seen one t-shirt, only one t-shirt, so I don't know what their stuff looks like, but that's how I read that.
It's interesting. I remember going to, like, when I first started going out to Cali, it was LA in the mid-90s, and there was definitely, you know, an aesthetic there. There's a whole vibe going on out there, and dudes are doing shit different. And like, as far as shows and things like that, trade shows, the only things that they, you know, either you're a part of ASR or basically that was it. There was no other venue for youth brands or, you know, things like that we were doing, and we were helping push, be present in. There is nothing else like that, you know. So there is definitely a scene. So it's definitely interesting to say, like, you know, there's something going on there, and it's still evident today, which is always good, because, you know, for a while I felt like things began to get blurred as far as aesthetics. You could tell, you know, and what a southern style or a, you know, West Coast style or even east, you know, an upper Eastern style would be like. And for a minute there, it just kind of got, you know, muddy, you know.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think it still is mostly muddy because the again, social media is flat in the world. You know, a kid in East Bumblefuck knows what's popping wherever in the world, whatever the new thing is in downtown New York City, at the same time that I find out or you find out, or
Right.
if they're tapped into the right parts of the internet, I suppose. So it's not like that regional distance is no longer real. I remember seeing that, you know, meeting kids at 10 Deep, at the 10 Deep office, like finding out about having groups of rappers come in and like just talking to them and like finding out, I was like, oh, you're from Florida and you're from Michigan, and how did y'all connect then? It was like, oh, the internet. It's like, really? It's like, yeah, we didn't meet until we moved into a house together in LA. And I was like, you know, that's like 2000, what's 2011, 12? The people that I'm thinking about now, those weren't the right states, but I remember hearing that and I was like, yo, it's different.
Yeah.
People are clicking up online and then taking that into the real world and it influenced the styles of music that they created in those cases. And I think it's the same for design creators. I think of one of the brands that's hot right now. I remember hearing that the guy who started, who I think is a great creative mind, was like, he linked up on the internet with a graphic designer from Australia. And I was like, oh, that's interesting that you could do that now. So it's just different. It's different. It also makes me think of dude that used to work for me. He was just like, it's like somebody was like, yo, you're not out at the parties, you're not out in the streets. And this is like one of my marketing dudes. And he was like, it's like, no, I'm not out on the street. I'm in my home. The internet, that's my block. SoundCloud, that's my block. And like, it made sense to me. Like, I think that is the new reality.
I remember you there was something once you put me on to. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm acquainted a certain way, but you were like, yeah, I'm gonna go to a party. I was invited to a party.
Oh, the internet party.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's online. There's a DJ, and the way you described it and everything, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That shit was crazy. That shit was mind blowing. It opened up the internet for me.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I haven't been to another one of those things, but it was dope. It was like an online music festival, but it was in a giant chat room with, I think that there were like, I can't remember the site that hosted it, but there were like 12 main video feeds, and then there's like a stream of people just typing in comments, and like different kids in the main video feeds it was all these young producers, some of which I think have kind of blown up since, not kind of, did. And it was really exciting. And I remember I was just had the camera covered up because I was like, oh, I'm at the time I'm like 30 something years old, and these are like, it looked like it was a lot of high school kids and kids in their early 20s.
Oh, you felt out of place.
Well, I was like, I'm not supposed to be at no party with high school. But it was really interesting and surprisingly intimate, despite the fact that it was over computers, and there was an intimacy that I sensed that, trying to describe it, most people wouldn't believe that you could do that. But it's like, it was these kids in their bedrooms, and like whoever was organized the fest, I think it was this dude, I think his name was Drip 133, Drip 33. Organized it. I think he also could see everyone that's logged in that had their cameras on, so he'd pick people out of the audience to put them into the select group of camera people. And so it was like kids in their bedrooms with like one or two friends, like head banging and going crazy when the camera would come on them, listening to the music. And the music was really interesting and dope. Wow. It's just, shit is different. Like there has to be more things like that are happening out there. I guess that's a lot of what like Twitch stuff is like. I'm not on Twitch either.
Yeah, live stream.
A lot of live stream stuff. The IG live streams are weird to me. I don't know. I guess it's different from a live stream because it's not about a single entity. It was a group. But I guess you could do group live streams though too. I don't even know how that works. I get old. But yeah.
I say let's end it on that note. Let's cut this short. Maybe what we can do what I'd like to do next time is discuss brands and actually go into more of just
I'm now a hater of all brands.
no, are you now?
I like the concept of brand.
I'd love to go into it and just, I mean, I see some good shit, and then of course I see a lot of bad shit. And I'd love to just, chop it up about it, and
Okay.
I'm down.
y'all down for that?
I'm down for it.
Right on. So, what I'll do is I'll put a list together of some that I've come across. Definitely share it so we can all just go back and forth with it. And then take it from a lot of stuff I personally been looking at that I love is just outerwear stuff.
What is that? Sea moss?
Now this is a green roasted salsa verde that expired on October 1st.
It's still good?
Some hair on your cheeks.
It tasted okay, but I'm not sure I should be eating it.
Yeah, don't.
I just want to share that I've been eating expired salsa.
You got to do the dance, bro.
Yeah, no. I got scared. I thought I found a worm in it.
Save guy go get his kids, right?
No, I gotta walk the dogs.
I gotta walk the dogs. That's how this ends? All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Dogs. My dog's call. I gotta walk the dogs.
The executive producer just gave me the nod, so we gotta call it quits.
Doodle time.
Doodle
time.
So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna go through this and I'm gonna chop up certain things, and then like do like
when's the next meeting?
We could do next week if same time if that works. And I don't know if Mondays or Tuesdays work. Or
I'd say every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Oh, every 2 weeks is too far out.
It's too far out. All right, fine. I'll try it
every Monday, bro.
Let's gauge it then. Let's do a little in between. You know
why? Because the current events are moving so fast today. I think we need to, because usually is cats are dropping twice a week, but at least if we could do once a week, so we could be on top of things, that would be good. But every 2 weeks, I think by certain times we get to certain things, it might be outdated. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I just want to have fun, guys.
That Bluster asked me do I ever put my phone down, so I just
wait. What?
Bluster? He said, "Do you ever put your phone down?" I was like, "Not today, not these days." Now, if you want to be a good designer, you can't put your phone down. You better stay on top of your shit.
I don't. That's a discussion right there, because I have leaned hard into putting my phone down and trying to create with more isolation.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my stuff to look like, I don't want to be influenced by what's going on in the algorithm.
Right.
But, I guess, and I understand that it's a risk. Because I think at least once or twice a week, I'm like, yo, I should get online. Maybe I need to see what's going on Instagram. But I want to be.
I think you need a little bit of both, because
you do need a little. I find it's hard to moderate, because this shit is this is the crack for this era.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it is.
So I would some people could take a hit and keep on going and not be addicted, but I don't know that I'm one of those people. I get on there, say I'll scroll for 5 minutes, and 2 hours later I'm like, yo, where'd the day go? I gotta check my email.
Yeah, well, you gotta do sporadically. I don't like I'm in and out on it.
Yeah,
but I follow a lot of vintage shit, so I don't like. I try not, like you said, I try not to look at the newer shit, but it's good to look at the newer shit, because aesthetically wise, then you know
what's going on.
You're in a realm, but you don't necessarily have to follow.